Today we are reading some Reddit stories whilst playing RLCraft. We will continue building the house. Anyways, let's start with the first story. You break me, I systematically destroy your entire life. I apologize up front for the rather lengthy post, but it's all true, and was my greatest revenge. It all starts about 10 years ago. I was happily engaged to a girl who I knew for about 9 years, but had only been dating for about 1 year. Let's call her Nancy. All was good. She had her dream engagement ring. We had a nice house together. Both had steady jobs, and the wedding plans were coming along nicely. About 2 months prior to the wedding, we found out we were going to have a baby. Such happiness had never been felt before. Wedding plans continued, and the big day was only 28 days away. I come home from work and find that Nancy isn't home. I call her to see if she got held up at work and to see what time she might be home. But Nancy wasn't at work. She was at her grandmother's house in another state. Nancy calmly told me that she no longer wanted to get married and that she was not coming home. Complete and utter shock. What in the F just happened? I try to call her back. Her phone is off. I call her grandmother. No answer. What about the wedding? What about our baby? What about everything? No answers. No contact for 3 days. 3 days of no breath in my body. No clues. Nothing. On day 4, Nancy shows up and starts packing her stuff. She won't say a word to me. Nothing. She leaves and sends me an email saying that she can't be with me. Again, no reasons. I begin calling her sister and asking what the fuck happened. Her sister tells me that she has no idea, but gives me their mom's phone number. Strange. Nancy said her mom was out of the picture because she was an abusive alcoholic. Nevertheless, I call Mom. Mom tells me that I am lucky number 3 who has fallen for this trap. Nancy cut Mom out of her life so Mom couldn't ruin Nancy's game of milking guys for money and resources. Nancy's been pregnant twice before and had miscarriages and milked guys for everything she could before running off to super Christian grandma's house and claiming abuse so grandma will take her in until the dust settles and she can do it again. What the fuck? Weeks go by and still no contact with Nancy. I've lost 20 pounds and have been counseled at my job for poor work performance. My family is mad as fuck. Family members lost money on travel plans to the wedding, and I am mortified. I lost all of the deposits on everything for the wedding, since it was less than 30 days before it was canceled. I'm piss broke. I check our joint bank account, -2,000. Guess I won't be paying the mortgage. I start to get my shit together, and my sadness turns to rage. I had so much anger inside of me I actually had to scale it back a bit, or I might have gone to prison. A month and a half after the split, I get a text. I had a miscarriage. You stressed me out too much and my daughter is dead now. Daughter? I was having a daughter? You're blaming me for this? That's it. I'm gonna kill this bitch. No, wait. Breathe. Get your shit together. Take this bitch apart at the seams. A few days of pain, lowering medicines and whiskey, get me over the hump of sadness again. Back to rage. Let's do this. Most of Nancy's shit was still at my house, which I have to walk away from, because I can afford it. I start to pack it all up, and in order to get rid of it somehow. But I stumble upon a few things. Her resume and her checkbook to her personal bank account. I read her resume. It's all bullshit like everything else. I hop on the computer, create a new Yahoo email address, and send a long letter to her corporate office telling them line by line how it's all lies. Feels good. Operation Checkbook. I sign her name on every check and rip them all out of the book. I drive 30 minutes to the seediest part of town and leave them on a sidewalk in front of an AM/PM. Too much good stuff. I go back home and throw out all of her shit. Fuck it. Sue me, bitch. Except her laptop, I keep that shit. 2 weeks go by. Nancy calls. I don't answer. Voicemail says she got laid off due to cutbacks. I know that's not true. 2 more weeks go by and letters from some district attorney's bad check restitution program begin to trickle in the mail. Oh, and the registration renewal for her car. Shared all that shit. Oh, while I'm at it, I might as well put a change of address in for her at the post office. Where to? The temporary shelter for the homeless sounds good. I hear through a mutual friend that since Nancy is out of work now, she is staying with friends and supported financially by super Christian grandma. I hop on her laptop and make a new Yahoo email address that is only one number different from Nancy's real email. I email super Christian grandma a video of Nancy finger blasting herself that I had saved. I titled the email, "Hey grandma, check out this video I took of my job. I hope I uploaded it right." Email reply, "You are disgusting. I hope your new job pays well, because I'm not supporting you if you act like that." Oh damn. A 2-for-1 deal. Embarrassment and financial distress. Nice. Weeks go by and I get a call from Rent-A-Center. WTF? Oh, they want all of Nancy's furniture back. I had no idea it was rent to own shit. I tell them I don't have it. They argue and say she says inhabit. I stick to my guns and tell them I do not have it, and I don't know where it is. That night, I burn it all in the yard. $4,200 owned. I find out that Nancy has a new job, and as I am planning my next move, I hear great news. Nancy has been arrested and is in jail for embezzlement. Apparently she had some money problems and stole $5,000 out of petty cash and got busted. Oh God, this is great. She messed up. Months go by with no updates, and then I hear from a friend that she was bailed out of jail by grandma after only a few days and ended up taking a plea bargain for a felony conviction and 3 years of probation, along with restitution. I hang my hat and call it a day. I have gotten my revenge. I'll leave it there. Time to move on. A couple months later, the phone rings. It's a repo company looking for info on where Nancy is because they are trying to repossess her car. Haha. One last nail in the coffin. I make a few calls and find the address where she is staying. I call the repo company back and give them the info. They thank me and say I am eligible for a $100 reward if they get the car back. No thanks. This one's on me. Nancy is now a felon, jobless, and a single mom of a kid she recently had from some random guy. She lives in an apartment with her brother and his girlfriend. I am happily married with a beautiful daughter and a great life. Yesterday, I got a Facebook message from Nancy. "Congrats on the marriage and daughter. I'm glad you're happy." I reply. "Go F yourself." She blocked me. Life is good. Sometimes taking the low road heals the soul. All right, 48 hours in. To learning my wife was on the path to a full-blown affair. Needed to write this somewhere as I feel like I have nobody to talk to at the moment. Forgive me if I ramble. This October will mark 27 years of marriage. We have 2 kids. Daughter lives at home with us, recently married, while waiting for her husband's deployment to the Air Force. Our son is a Marine and lives on the opposite coast. We've had a rough patch for probably the last 6 months. That is mainly based on me having ED. To be blunt, my wife wants a lot of intercourse, and there's only so far I can go. Tried multiple pills, and nothing has worked. tried to get creative, but for her, it's not the real thing. She was becoming more and more distant and actually lashing out at me saying I didn't love her anymore or I wasn't attracted to her. I've had my own struggles dealing with ED, and I did turn her down sometimes because I feel horrible about how it all goes down, knowing she is not fully satisfied. My wife is on social media quite a bit and posts a lot. Nothing crazy, but we're different that way. I like to read what my friends are up to, but don't post a lot while she is constantly posting. For a couple of months, she started posting a lot of pictures of herself, which typically get a lot of her friends telling her how beautiful she is. I noticed a guy was all over her posts, but figured, hey, some guy probably has a crush on my wife, but my wife would never engage in anything like that. So, the last few months, my wife started becoming more distant while getting upset with me and suggesting I was the one not giving her enough attention. With the whole COVID thing, she's not working, and I'm working full-time at home. I figured this was a case of the stress of everything going on, but made an effort to engage even more with her. I would come out of our office as much as possible during the day and come down to talk to her. She was clearly shutting me down and pushing me away at that point. We had a huge blow-up where she laid out everything she's unhappy about. I'm not giving her what she needs. She needs to feel closeness. She needs more intimacy. Longer discussion led to her saying our current intercourse life was a big problem, and she craves so badly what no longer works in me. I feel awful but don't know what else to try. So to try and get to where things went completely sideways, 2 nights ago we're talking, and her phone goes off. I was right next to her, and it was a Facebook Messenger message from a guy, the same guy who was heavily engaging with her on Facebook. It pops up right in front of us. Miss you. Thinking about you, I'm like, what the hell is that? She starts by explaining that he's just a friend that she knew growing up, and he reached out on Facebook. They knew each other's families, so it really is nothing. What proceeded to happen throughout the night was unwinding a series of lies where I'd learn more and more. They'd been talking for months, but just reminiscing about family and childhood stories. Then it went to she was telling him she is struggling in her marriage, but she swears that was it. I pushed for her to come clean, and it went further. They were exchanging fantasies about what they do to each other. She was breaking down, saying she just needed intercourse so bad. And again, we have intercourse in the sense that we do as much as we can without penetration. She finally says, I have to go out. I promise I'll be back, but I know this is horrible, and I need to think. I almost lost it as she was walking out and said, please don't leave me, but I bit my tongue. I figured she was going to call a friend or something. I'm talking a girlfriend here. In maybe a bad move, it hit me that, what are the odds she is talking to this guy? And I went to the Verizon site and looked at her phone logs. Sure enough, it showed a number she had a 30-minute call with, right after she left. I started doing every bit of research to find out who it was. It was getting really late, and I was super concerned about why she wasn't coming back. I texted a few times, but she didn't answer. Eventually, I get a text around 2 a.m. that she's coming home. When she got home, I asked what she had done. She told me she went to see one of her girlfriends, and I said, who did you call? She said she called her girlfriend. I know her friend's number, because our families are friends. So, I said, I know, you made another call. She looked shocked, and I said, just come clean. She said, when she left, she called him to tell him what was happening. I pointed out that she has been continuously lying throughout the night. So, At that point, so came out with all of it. So throughout the night and into the dawn, it all came out. She said they haven't had intercourse yet, but they were to the point they were planning. And she said it was definitely going to happen. I asked her multiple times throughout the night if it was going to stop, and she was invested in us. Every time I got a non-committal answer. She's confused. She feels lost. She told me that she wouldn't talk to him at one point, but he reached out to her the next day, and they spoke for about 20 minutes. Sorry for rambling. I don't have the first clue what to do. I really have no one to talk to. It's so weird that she is looked at as a pillar of our community, and I'm just the quiet, hard-working husband. If you were to be told that there was an affair going in between us, I guarantee everyone that knows us would want to know what the hell I've done. Maybe that doesn't matter. But again, it's just feeling like I can't turn anywhere. I don't even know how to wrap this up. I'm in so much pain. Like I can feel physical pain from this. My chest is hurting, and I feel so sick. If you read this far, thank you. I don't know what to do. Bro, that is so messed up. I can't believe she's blaming his ED for her basically planning to cheat. That's a whole new level of messed up. He was actually trying to work on it, and she just completely checked out and went looking for validation elsewhere. Anyways, here's the next story. 32M, 30F. How do I heal after betrayal and toxic accusations in a relationship? I'm feeling completely lost and broken after the end of a relationship where I gave everything I had, like my love, trust, loyalty, and future plans. I need advice or guidance on how to move forward, as I'm struggling to make sense of what happened. I recently discovered that my partner had been betraying me in ways I never thought possible. She not only engaged in inappropriate conversations and sent explicit photos to others, but also participated in live naked cam shows for strangers online. This isn't the first time we've broken up over similar issues. I gave her another chance because I believed in her and our relationship. Unfortunately, I've learned that my trust was misplaced. What makes it even harder is that I warned her about these people and the harm they could cause. But instead of listening, she accused me of being controlling and abusive. I was never either of those things. I just cared deeply and wanted to protect her. Now, I feel like all my sacrifices and efforts to support and love her have been twisted into something negative. I sacrificed so much for her, emotionally, mentally, and even legally. I've battled depression, immense stress, and ongoing court cases trying to protect her from harm. The betrayal and accusations have left me feeling worthless and completely broken. The memories we shared, which I once cherished, now bring me nothing but pain. I don't know how to let go of someone who was such a big part of my life, but has caused me so much hurt. Has anyone else gone through something like this? How do you heal from betrayal, false accusations, and the emotional scars left behind? I'd appreciate any advice, encouragement, or personal stories from people who've been through similar experiences. So my take on this is that this guy was literally gaslit into thinking he was the problem when she was the one doing all this insane, shady stuff. Calling him controlling was just a tactic to avoid taking any responsibility for her own actions. All right, time to start story 2. I sat and waited for him to take a sip. 10 years ago, I was a newlywed and joined my husband in a new city. This place was a well-known tourism destination. I saw a job posting for a weekend tour guide at a local distillery and thought being paid to drink on the job would be awesome. It was mostly. After 6 months of countless cheers, I was offered a managerial position. Front of the house operations, staffing, and maintaining an above-average guest atmosphere. Everything was fantastic for the first few weeks, until two of the other managers pulled me aside. "You need to watch Frank. He and the executive director are close. Id est. Her kids call him Grandpa. He's abusive, sexist, and a logistical nightmare. Watch your back." Frank and I hadn't worked closely when I was part-time, so I was oblivious that he refused to adhere to any timetable. His 30-minute tours last an hour. His 90 minutes went over 2 hours. At one point, several of his connoisseur tours, advertised as 3 hours, lasted 4.5 hours. Geez, Gilligan. Wrap it up. Now, you might be thinking, well, this guy was passionate and was providing a world-class experience. Our tour times were clearly advertised at the front desk, and often people would choose a specific tour length so they could visit other attractions, or because they had dinner reservations. On more than a dozen occasions, I profusely apologized to irate guests, and even went so far to offer refunds, freebies, and call their next destination to see if I could help them reschedule or squeeze in. Additionally, I had to juggle the stress inflicted upon our other tour guides and to keep their guests blissfully unaware. I am a CYOA person. I documented days, times, guest complaints, staff grievances, everything. I did not trust executive director to take my word. I had printouts in an unmarked file folder and forwarded them to my personal email at home. Frank's reign of terror came to a head on a busy Saturday when he disagreed with my handling of one of his irate guests and screamed into my face. I calmly asked him to meet me in the break room, and once the door closed, I immediately sent him home. Before he left, he said so many disgusting and hateful things to me, I actually cried. We had an HR meeting that Monday, which was nothing more than a peace accord. As Frank waxed poetically about his love of our experience and our staff, and how he couldn't understand why I had a beef with him, I stopped him cold. I informed everyone I had documentation, which contained numerous complaints from guests and staff for his disregard of our protocols. His belligerence, for which there were multiple witnesses, was a result of being reprimanded on his refusal to perform his basic responsibilities. We didn't have cameras. In light of his aggressive and unprofessional behavior, he should be reprimanded. I wanted it documented in his employee record. Should I have brought said documentation? Yes. But I was playing the long game. I told HR I would like to work with executive director in creating a schedule where Frank could continue entertaining with minimal disruptions to our daily flow. Executive director's face was ghostly white when I mentioned numerous previous complaints, but she agreed. Frank apologized and was reprimanded, which was nothing more than a slap on the wrist. Later, I walked into executive director's office with a thick file folder. Contained within were emails about his abusive behavior to only female guides and managers, and their complaints to her that went unaddressed, and how, as the third to be subjected to it, I had every right to throw her under the bus for repeatedly condoning harassment and allowing Frank to create a toxic work environment. I could walk away with some serious cash, but I genuinely loved my job and the people under me. In retrospect, I should have been a whistleblower, but I was in my 20s and pretty naive. We agreed she would be his sole supervisor on the floor, but I would be diligent in timing him and monitoring guest complaints. In 30 days, we would revisit the problem. And if she couldn't wrangle Grandpa, I would go scorched earth. We scaled Frank back from 4 days a week to 1. No weekends, only Wednesdays, our slowest day. And moving forward, he was only allowed 1 tour a day. The 30-minute lunchtime tour, which had a 45-minute buffer between guests. One day, as I sat at the front desk with my phone's clock on a stopwatch, executive director went to the bathroom. Seeing his golden opportunity for revenge, Frank loudly asked me in front of his guests to prepare his tasting experience, a job each guide oversaw themselves. I told him I would be delighted. As I finished pouring his drink, I, sweaty from wearing khakis and a polyester shirt in the middle of summer, reached behind my back. I ran the tip of my finger up my butt crack and wiped the moisture around every square centimeter of the rim of his glass. I poured myself a drink as well and stood in the background until Frank lifted the glass to his lips and sighed with pleasure. That visual still makes me smile. He never stepped out of line again and retired a month later to spend more time with his grandkids. Honestly, good for her. She tried to handle it the right way through HR and documentation, and they gave her a useless slap-on-the-wrist solution. Thanks for watching, guys, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video.